melts the road to gold.
New faces arrive with stories untold.
The air is thick, but the dreams are wide.
South African hearts crossing the tide.
Safe in liberty's embrace, where the stars and stripes find space. Sweat rolls down, but the hope runs deep. Alabama heat, Alabama heat. They carry talent in battered bags. No corruption here to plant new flags.
From the ashes of crime they rise.
With courage burning brighter than skies.
The past may haunt,
But the future sings. Freedom hums on broken wings. Safe in liberty's embrace, where the stars and stripes find space. Sweat rolls down, but the hope runs deep. Alabama heat,
Alabama heat.
Alabama
Humidity hugs like an old ghost.
But here they stand, a living toast to freedom's soil, to the promised land. With careless hands, they take a stand. Alabama heat. Alabama heat, Alabama
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hello folks, welcome back. It is Monday, June 22nd, 2026, live here in our studio in central Pennsylvania. I tried to fix that stupid clock back there, but it didn't want to play nice. It's Chinese crap. Did not want to play nice. Tried to catch the time up, but it just wouldn't play nice. Hey, Hermanus, thank you for the 70 Rand super sticker. Appreciate that. Well, proof that YouTube is what have you done for me lately. On Friday, May 29th, I had 88,000 views on that day. Yesterday, I had 19,000 views because I didn't do any cafe clutch, just did my news and no prepared videos. It's really a what have you done for me lately, YouTube. Really, really is. Channel will disappear very quickly if you don't post things up there. People don't go back and watch old videos. It really is interesting how that works. But it's a what have you done for me lately thing. So people ask me why I don't make so many videos. Well, because people watch them. If I don't make them, they don't watch them. Welcome, everybody. Let's get to the news. In the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer has resigned as Prime Minister, but he's not stepping away yet, waiting for a leadership challenge. There'll be a competition for the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, who rose to power on what the British press called an overwhelming landslide, which is poppycock. The vote was split because in the UK it's first past the post. So in most constituencies, the Labour Party needed barely over 30% of the voters to vote for them in order to win the seat in Parliament. And they did that over and over again because Reform and Tory split the Conservative vote in half. Therefore, Tories and Reform got nothing, and Labour got everything. Despite the fact that the Reform Party have the second highest number of votes in Parliament, they have one of the lowest numbers of representatives in Parliament because the first past the post system, a system that was designed to ensure political control. Well, there you have it. So Keir Starmer is resigning as the Prime Minister. And in fact, Andy Burnham is probably worse than Keir Starmer. If you can imagine such a thing, how is it possibly worse than this buffoon? Well, it is. The United Kingdom will get its sixth Prime Minister in 7 years. Starmer will step down amid mounting pressure from his own lawmakers, paving the way for his seventh British Prime Minister in just a decade. Andy Burnham, the former mayor of Greater Manchester, was sworn in as a lawmaker and looks likely to replace him within weeks. Another potential challenger, former Health Minister Wes Streeting, backed Burnham and ruled himself out. So it looks like it's going to be Andy Burnham, who comes from the ash bin of history, to suddenly become the Prime Minister of the UK, a leftist, to say the least. Starmer's announcement came just 2 years after his centre-left Labour Party swept into power with a landslide majority, and almost 10 years today since Britain voted to leave the European Union. It was not a landslide majority. It's a landslide in Parliament, but it wasn't a landslide amongst voters. It wasn't even a majority. It was barely a plurality. So Keir Starmer has announced his resignation.
The question my party is asking now is whether I am best placed to lead us into the next general
You're not.
I have heard the answer of my parliamentary party to that question, and I accept that answer with good grace.
Well, he did something correct for once. Stepped down as leader. Prime Minister Keir Starmer of Britain announced his resignation on Monday, bowing to a mutiny inside his Labour Party. Starmer said he would remain as Prime Minister until a new party leader is elected by September rather than fight to remain in the job he won almost 2 years ago. His decision means that Britain will have its seventh Prime Minister in a decade, extending a period of political turmoil for the country since it voted to leave the European Union since 2010. Well, the answer is Nigel Farage. That's the answer. The UK needs Nigel Farage. Once Nigel Farage is Prime Minister, then this country will get back on track. But this fascist dictatorship posing as a legitimate democracy needs to be brought back to its heels, a country that put over 12,000 British citizens in prison for their speech. It is a fascist totalitarian country, soon to be led by another socialist dictator. Andy Burnham is a new member of parliament. World leaders are reacting. Volodymyr Zelensky, the grifter-in-chief in the Ukraine, thanks the outgoing Prime Minister for his support, always striving to do what is needed and what will truly help. Yeah, give money to Ukraine for their war. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney says the world is safer and allies are more united because of Keir Starmer's efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you, Sharon, for the 35 Rand super sticker. I would like to ask the officials in Ottawa to immediately go to the executive office and give your analysis to Mark Carney. Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, says that the world is safer and allies are more united. Safer. While Keir Starmer did nothing for global safety, security. What did he do for Gaza? Ukraine. He armed Ukraine. What did he do in the Hormuz Strait? Not a damn thing. He didn't do anything for peace. What a joke. The world is a mess thanks to people like Keir Starmer. France's Prime Minister Emmanuel Macron, today not being slapped by his wife, thanks him for strengthening the Franco-British relationship, his commitment to the coalition of volunteers for Ukraine, as well as a revival relationship between UK and the European Union. Ireland's Taoiseach Prime Michael Martin says Starmer has worked with us to set a new direction in depth and relationship between Ireland and the UK for the benefit of all our citizens, north, south, east, and west. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, another fascist totalitarian country, Ireland, invaded by foreigners who are obliterating the Irish in their own homeland, making them nothing as the government harasses them. South Africa's government is spending 600 million rand to prepare for June 30th's xenophobic attacks, according to the acting police minister, Firoz Chachela. He said preparations were costing the country about 600 million. And look at the collection of cabal of idiots sitting up there. Not one qualified person sitting on that dais at those tables. Angie Mochek, are you serious? Not one of those people's qualified for the job that they're holding. Not one of them. Addressing the media Monday to discuss plans ahead of the protest, Kachala and law enforcement agencies had significantly increased their readiness. I want people to understand the cost for the country and therefore results of reckless behavior. Now, money that would otherwise have been deployed maybe to improve safety and community, build a police station, has to be spent on this to ensure that we have resources to deal with this protest action. Except you weren't spending money on police stations or police equipment or police training. So stop lying to us, Feroz. Stop lying to us. And this money's probably coming out of the pockets of World Bank. Give me a break. Give me a frickin' break. There will be daily operational assessments, continuous monitoring of the security environment to ensure that our deployments remain responsive to emerging risk. I'm sorry, as a national police, that is sort of your daily responsibility every frickin' day of the year. Not just because of these terrorists have announced they're going to murder people on the 30th of June. Where the hell are these police at? You don't have a national response center, a national awareness. You don't keep track of where your cops are. You don't keep track of hotspots. I think we've identified the problem with the South African Police Service. Not only are their top officials corrupt and thieves and in bed with gangsters, but they're also incompetent. I think we've hit it. I think we've hit it on the nail. They're incompetent. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, an administrative snafu for lack of permit has trapped Malawians who are trying to flee from this Afrophobic violence in South Africa perpetrated by black South Africans. Administrative holdup see Malawians stranded in Joburg during repatriation drive. Hundreds of Malawians attempting to flee South Africa were held up in Johannesburg the weekend as administrative issues and transport agents struggled to keep pace with the growing repatriation effort. Videos circulating on social media have raised concerns that foreigners are being relocated between cities in South Africa instead of being repatriated. These have been debunked, with the commuters said they are merely being held up en route. Sociologists and political analysts tested Doomsday and individuals seen gathered in Newlands were not being moved within the country, but were attempting to return to Malawi. As a person who was in Newlands at the church, I can tell you it's repatriation, not relocation. None of the people who are on the buses are trying to relocate to a different part of the country. They're trying to get back to Malawi. Well, Cape Town is a long-ass way from the warm heart of Africa and Malawi. The long way is a long way from Cape Town. Nigerian immigrants returning to Nigeria are facing the same economic issues they left behind in South Africa. When the flight carrying hundreds of Nigerians fleeing South Africa landed in Lagos last week, the first feeling of passenger Inabong James was of relief. Then came worry. Nearly 2 weeks after his return, the 50-year-old is trying to settle back into life he left 10 years ago when he packed his suitcase, headed to South Africa on a 6-month visitor's visa. Overstayed his visa, and despite lacking permission, he built a life as a car mechanic in the Eastern Cape. He was coping until he was attacked by anti-immigrant protesters in May, leaving him with a head wound. The attack on James came in the midst of sharp rise in anti-migrant sentiment in South Africa in recent months. Hundreds of migrants from Nigeria and South African countries have been relocated. It's thousands, not hundreds. Come on, AP, get it right. It's thousands have been relocated. Well, you shouldn't be in a country illegally. Stranded Nigerians are protesting delaying a second repatriation flight from South Africa. Nigerians today staged a protest at Nigerian High Commission in Pretoria over delays in the repatriation of citizens who had registered to return home. Well, why don't they just go home on their own? It's their own responsibility. Why do they expect their government to do it? On June 18th, Bianca Udumwingu Uwiguiji, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, assured Nigerians living in South Africa no citizen willing to return home would be abandoned as the June 30th deadline set by anti-migrant groups. Isn't this amazing how foreign governments are responding to terrorists in South Africa? Domestic terrorists in South Africa are setting the foreign policy agenda of the country. Not Ronnie Lamola, not Cyril Ramaphosa, not the African National Congress, not the Democratic Alliance, not the Government of National Unity, but domestic terrorists in South Africa are setting the foreign policy of the country. They are setting foreign policy. And it's affecting all of Africa. It is amazing to see where is the press complaining about this black terrorism of these terrorists in South Africa, domestic terrorists, who are threatening the lives of people who admittedly are criminals, but you shouldn't be murdering criminals just because they're criminals. You should be deporting them. Nigerian nationals want repatriation fast track. They want out now, not yesterday, now. They want out now, not yesterday. Well, here's a sad story. Thank you for your membership, Chardon Goslin. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, June 30th will be a disaster in South Africa, potentially. We shall see. If you have not prepared your community with brick radios, water resources, reservoirs of water, with food storage, canned goods, biltong, and with self-protection and barriers, you will find yourself in a very bad position, particularly in places like Pietermaritzburg and Soweto, and of course other townships around the country, but particularly places like Phoenix and maybe even Chatsworth in Durban. So be prepared, folks. It's not going to be pretty. And hopefully we're all wrong about this. Hopefully we're wrong. But I wasn't wrong about 2021. A baby found breastfeeding on her mother's lifeless body. Asife Noziana, 29, was fatally stabbed at her village homestead last Thursday, allegedly by her friend's boyfriend. Her 10-month-old daughter was found covered in blood, still reaching to breastfeed from her lifeless mother. A scene witnesses described as deeply traumatic. Thank you, Chardon, for your super chat. The 30-year-old suspect allegedly accused her of hiding his girlfriend's affair faces charges of murder and assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm. After she was brutally stabbed at Eastern Cape homestead, her 10-month-old babe crawled into a pool of her blood to breastfeed, unaware that her mother was already dead. That's just sick. The attack happened at 8 p.m. Her boyfriend arrived armed with a knife, demanding to know the whereabouts of a man he suspected her of having an affair with. So he didn't kill the girlfriend, he killed the friend. Asife told him to get inside the house so there he could see there was no other man. He stabbed her just like that without checking if there was a man inside or not. She fell down. When I tried to intervene, he stabbed me in the hand as well. Her 10-month-old baby, unaware her mother was already dead, reached for her breast to breastfeed. This is just sick. This is just sick. She didn't deserve to die like this. The incident was really disturbed the whole family. Our mother's not been able to speak ever since the incident. This is how little people value life in South Africa. This innocent young lady didn't do anything, and she just stabbed to death, and her baby, now an orphan. Unbelievable. Well, Alan, it may be a big nothing burger only because people have been hearing about it for so long, but it won't be because of the competence of the security forces. It won't be for that reason. This is South Africa every single day. Every single day. Unbelievable. To the leftist hate wankers and blue-haired tunnies who run around on the left-hand side of the political spectrum and lie about me, I report on all of South Africa and this tragic death, this stabbing death of this innocent young lady who happens to be black, murdered for no reason whatsoever. Her child made an orphan. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. You lying bastards. The Independent Electoral Commission had a big registration with 2.9 million registrations over the weekend. Wow, that is a lot. The Electoral Commission of South Africa recorded 2.9 million voter registrations during the voter registration weekend, increasing the number on the rolls to 28.5 million of the so-called 38 million who are eligible. Well, we'll see how many people actually vote. There will be no bloodshed, promises Zulu King. Well, maybe that'll be enough to stop it, eh? Amazulu King Mizuzulu Kwazweletini has urged the Zulu nation to show restraint and humanity towards foreign nationals. In a rare and direct plea to his people, Zulu King has urged the Zulu nation to show restraint and humanity towards foreign nationals caught in South Africa's escalating crisis of anti-foreigner protest. The King's intervention comes at a crucial moment, as the June 30th deadline set by the domestic terrorist for undocumented foreigners to leave the country has fueled fear and uncertainty across the country. Speaking at the International Day of Yoga in Durban, the monarch warned that violence against migrants could have serious consequences for South Africans living abroad. Yeah, good point. South African people, I'm pleading with you. We're not looking good in the whole of Africa right now. It's not our fault. I've taken note of the manner in which we treat foreign nationals as Zulu nation. You see, if you went to Zimbabwe today and told people that you were from KwaZulu-Natal, they would beat you up. Is that what you want? We do not need that. Do you hear me? We too will not go to their country without proper documentation. It's worse there because you will not return home. You will be killed. They kill people. We're better because we have camps to shelter them. Okay, I'm sorry. Everything was good until he said that. Until he accused foreign countries of murdering South Africans. Where are South Africans being murdered on the continent because they're South African? Please. Unfortunate for him to have said that. Otherwise, it was pretty good. The FW de Klerk Foundation begs President Trump to not cancel HIV support. CEO Christo van Riede urges Trump administration use constructive bilateral pressure for change in South Africa. Well, Christo, we've tried constructive bilateral change, and South Africa refused to send us an ambassador for over a year. South Africa lies about America. South Africa mocks our president at the G20. South Africa continues to spread propaganda about the refugee program. We've tried constructive engagement, Mr. van Riede. It doesn't work. The head of the FW declared foundation has written to President Donald Trump urging his administration to separate its diplomatic disagreements from foreign assistance and reconsider its decision to terminate HIV funding in South Africa. Late last week, it emerged the Trump administration decided to end support for South Africa by President. We've already ended support. What is this talking about? Quotes a Senate aide saying PEPFAR funding is to end because the South African government has not agreed to a series of U.S. demands, include scrapping BE and getting rid of Kill the Boer. He said the withdrawal of PEPFAR infrastructure would disrupt life-saving health programs for millions of innocent people caught in geopolitical crossfire. I'm sorry, didn't South Africa's officials say that they laughed at Gwede Mantashe said, "Oh, the Americans, it's only 17% of the budget." Isn't that what we heard from your health minister? Didn't South Africa's health minister say the Americans, the amount of PEPFAR money doesn't really mean anything? Yeah, except it was a lie. Without our PEPFAR money, people die. And that's what I said from the outset because I understand how PEPFAR works. I've run PEPFAR programs. These idiots in politics in South Africa don't know what they're talking about. We urge your administration to shift its approach away from polarizing ultimatums toward constructive bilateral pressure that encourages the South African government to grow its mutual economy, strengthen the rule of law, and address the universal challenge affecting our entire population. Well, Mr. van Riede, apparently whoever you work with isn't very bright. You really think that sending a letter to President Trump accusing him of polarizing ultimatums, which are not polarizing, they're not polarizing. They were simple requests. Not one of them has been addressed. There's been no effort whatsoever even to breach this gap by the South African government. So this is stupid. I'm sorry, Mr. Christo van Riede, you're welcome on this program, but your approach is foolhardy. You clearly don't understand foreign affairs. Wow. 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 Unbelievable. Well, good luck with that. That's not going to happen. 3 local politicians gunned down over the weekend in Cape Town MPE. An ANC councillor, Nelson Mandela Bay, and a BOSA candidate councillor were killed over the weekend. Follows the murder of a DA Ward candidate who was gunned down in Cape Town on Saturday. ANC expressed its shock and sadness over the brutal murder of Cecilio Mleve in Nelson Mandela Bay. He was killed in the evening of 22 while serving the people of his community. Untimely death deprives the movement and reticence. Now, this is getting worse. Shot multiple times by a gunman in the streets shortly before 6 p.m. on Saturday after spending most of the day helping residents register to vote. This is out of control. I mean, this is absolutely out of control. For a long time, it was ANC members murdering other ANC members. Now they're hiring gangsters to murder these politicians all over the country. This is sick. The gangsters have taken such a great hold that they don't want to let go. South Africa, man, it's just scary. This is absolutely scary. Ethiopian Prime Minister's party wins another big parliamentary majority. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's Prosperity Party, we finally get the results of the elections, has won another large parliamentary majority in this month's elections. This war criminal, man who committed crimes against humanity, is now once again in office. His party won 438 seats, 90% of those that were tallied. It only needs 274 for majority. Yeah, the fix is in. The 49-year-old can consolidate his grip on national politics, even as he's faced violent opposition in some of the country's largest regions. But there was no voting in much of the country because it's lawless. Ethiopia is out of control with a fascist in charge. Uganda says Islamic Development Bank approves a 12.28 billion rand loan. Wow, about $700 million for Uganda, coming from the Islamic Development Bank, trying to once again get its tentacles in there. Long ago, Muammar Gaddafi put his tentacles into Uganda, building mosques in a country that's primarily Christian. The Islamic Development Bank's executive board has approved a 650 million euro loan to Uganda to help finance its standard gauge railway project. They're raising funds for the 2.7 billion euro project, which has already won backing from lenders, including the World Bank and the African Development Bank. Citibank will help mobilize the funding. Well, the 272-kilometer line will link landlocked Uganda to Kenya's rail network, providing access to the Indian Ocean instead of trucks over rotten roads through Uganda. Well, folks, who's been eliminated from the World Cup? Well, surprise, surprise, Bafana Bafana is not yet eliminated. For those who are keeping track of the boys are not eliminated from the World Cup just yet, although that may come very soon. Let's see who's been eliminated and who's qualified. Only 2 teams have qualified, Germany and the USA. Germany will place third from the A, B, C, D, or F group. And the United States is also qualified. They will face the third place team from B, E, F, I, or J groups. So today, Argentina plays Austria in about 30 minutes. Later, it's France versus Iraq. South Africa remains in competition, although it's tenuous at best. So far, the only countries eliminated are Haiti, Turkey. Haiti's in Group C, Turkey's in Group D, and Tunisia in Group F. Those are the eliminated countries from the FIFA World Cup. Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, did you happen to catch the the Cape Verde game yesterday against Uruguay, a 2-time World Cup winner in 1930 and 1950? It's been nearly a century since they last won, but still, Uruguay, a 2-time World Cup winner. Yesterday, Cape Verde scored the first goal on a penalty kick, a free kick, I should say. And then late in the first half, Uruguay came back with 2 goals, and this goalie that everyone's talking so much about, that his mother couldn't get to the game, well, she was at the game. The U.S. let her in the country. She was at the game. His 59-year-old mother was there, and he sucked. He was a terrible goalie. It's lucky for them they got away with a 2-2 draw, but still, Cape Verde is the darling of this World Cup, having held Spain to a 0-0 draw, and now in their defensive effort have held Uruguay to a 2-2 draw. They remain in the mix to advance, and their chance of advancing are very good because they play Saudi Arabia in their last game. They should be able to trounce over Saudi Arabia. And, of course, Uruguay is going to have to play Spain. They're not going to beat Spain. So this should be interesting. Cape Verde celebrates. This is shocking for fans. Wow. Cape Verde in a 2-2 draw yesterday in a very exciting game. An exciting, very exciting game, and both teams pressed very hard to get those points at the end. Two to two. Cape Verde caused another World Cup shock to deny Uruguay. Cape Verde's magical start to its first World Cup isn't over. It might just be getting started. The tiny nation that stunned the tournament favorite Spain last week did it again against Uruguay on Sunday, coming from behind for a 2-2 draw. Kevin Pena scored on a free kick for Cape Verde's first ever goal in the World Cup, and Helio Varela scored an equalizer for what has become one of the most surprising teams in the expanded 48-team tournament, a squad that now has a legitimate chance of getting into the knockout stage. There's something we owe to other smaller nations, Cape Verde coach Pedro Brito said through an interpreter. Teams that struggle to qualify for World Cup tournament, we're also here to show the country may be small, may struggle financially, but if they're resilient, if they can endure struggle, they can also stand shoulder to shoulder with other major teams and players who are on another level. The group of islands off Africa's west coast have about 4,000 square meters of land mass and approximately 500,000 inhabitants, making Cape Verde the third smallest nation by population to qualify for the World Cup. Cape Verdean fans who watched the team pull off one of the stunners of the tournament last week by beating Spain to a scoreless draw continue the celebrations when Pena blasted a strike past diving goalie Fernando Muslera for a 1-0 lead in the 21st minute. Maxi Araujo and Agustin Canobo scored late first half goals minutes apart to put Uruguay ahead, but Varela, minutes in after coming to the game, caught Muslera way off his line for a tying goal in the second half and his first international score. It was Uruguay's second draw after a 1-1 finish against Saudi Arabia in their opener. La Celeste faced Spain in their final group stage with an uphill climb to reach the knockout stage after failing to capitalize on several late chances to take lead. But so did Cape Verde. They failed to capitalize on late chances to win this game outright. Special moment for their goalie, who became one of the tournament's breakout stars after shutting down Spain. The 40-year-old goalie had his mother in the stands for the match. She was unable to attend the match because she couldn't get a visa, but she's got one now. But they're in good shape here. Cape Verde, 2 points. If they can beat Saudi Arabia, they'll wind up with 5 points, and Spain will likely beat Uruguay, giving them 7 points. That would mean that Cape Verde would advance. Ooh, exciting stuff. One of the world's great stories. Can Cape Verde become legends? Well, I think they can. The Blue Sharks showed their class again, the greatest stage, by holding 2-time World Cup winners Uruguay and are in serious contention for a place in the knockouts. Yep. Wow. Great stuff, folks. Great stuff. You got to love it. I hate soccer, but that was a pretty exciting story. I actually watched the game. I was lying down. What an exciting game that was. Cape Verde's Cinderella World Cup run stays intact with a draw against Uruguay. Every moment, every match, every memory. Yep. Wasn't able to score in the World Cup debut against Spain, but found the back of the net twice against Uruguay. Here they are after the match. I dreamed of this, but I never imagined it would happen this way. Scoring my first goal for the national team on my World Cup debut is incredible. I have no words. Wow, Cape Verde. Everyone's talking about Cape Verde. No one's talking about Uruguay. Uruguay's in trouble. J.D. Vance says Iran will allow nuclear inspectors back into the country for this Faustian deal that the U.S. is making with the terrorists in Tehran. J.D. Vance says Iran has agreed to allow nuclear inspectors back in the country, a key demand of the international community, with discussions with the International Atomic Energy Agency happening as soon as today. U.S. Vice President said a great deal of progress has been made after the first round of talks between the U.S. and Iran to reach a deal to end the war. He said the teams had discussed reopening the Strait of Hormuz and deconfliction of the regional ceasefire. Speaking in Switzerland this morning, Vice President said nuclear issue was probably one of the we're most excited about as Americans. I'm not excited. I want the enriched uranium. I'm sorry. Shipping is stalled once again in the Strait of Hormuz after Iran has declared the waterway closed. Data shows that a recovery in oil tanker traffic, the world's most important choke point, just last week appears to have already hit a snag. Iran on Saturday said it had shut the strait, citing ceasefire violations after Israel continued deadly strikes in southern Lebanon. Of course, Lebanon has nothing to do with the conflict, except the Iranians are drawing it into it. Analysis published by Witmer found the total of 12 ships transited the Strait of Hormuz on Sunday, down from more than 21 the previous day. 5 of the 8 inbound vessels were said to be dark, which is when a ship disables its automatic identification system, AIS, to hide its location, identity, and identification. And its destination. AIS is a system I helped install in Liberia to identify large ships at sea. Well, what are the key outcomes of this agreement in Iran? Let's see what they have to say here. High-level committee and communications channels to be established, as well as deconfliction cell for Lebanon. Sanctions relief and frozen assets unfrozen. And Iran's nuclear program will allow inspectors in. That's not sufficient. I'm sorry, President Trump. That's not a victory. Germany has screwed itself royally. Its corrupt media being caught using artificial intelligence to write their own stories using artificial intelligence. Yeah, this is already the lazy work of lazy journalists who refuse to do their own work. Germany's media rocked by AI scandal. 2 German outlets were forced to delete articles that use undisclosed AI. For our newsroom, AI is a tool that helps us simplify and improve certain steps in the editorial process. It is, however, definitely not a tool that is allowed to take over the core of our work. That was the explanation published last weekend by Berlin-based newspaper Tagesspiegel, as it hoped to contain a scandal that shook the German media world. In the same text, the editors laid out the reasoning for taking the drastic decision to stop publishing columns by one of their most famous political commentators until further notice. After it emerged that Stefan Andreas Kastorf, the newspaper's former publisher and editor-in-chief, had used AI to compose opinion pieces. The 67-year-old said he was aware of the magnitude of this misconduct. I have made a huge mistake, damaged the publication's reputation and my own. For that, I make a heartfelt apology. I used AI in the text. I should have made it clear and therefore not allowed them to be published. Editorial leadership deleted several of his articles from the newspaper's website. We decided to take the text in question offline for time being until a detailed examination had been completed. The Kastorf case has further fueled an occasionally incendiary debate about the use of artificial intelligence journalism. A few days earlier, it was revealed that a guest op-ed in the Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung by the state premier of Thüringen, Mario Voigt, has also created with the help of AI. The FAZ said it was only found out if the piece was published. Cheats. Lazy cheat. 67-year-old and you're cheating. That raised the question, how much of his life did he cheat? You don't suddenly become a cheat at 67 like that. Give me a break. Trump-backed populists has won a tight Colombia presidential vote. A flamboyant U.S.-backed lawyer who has never held public office narrowly won Colombia's polarizing presidential runoff Sunday, swinging the country hard right and sparking violent protests. Almost all the ballots are counted. Abelardo de la Espriella held 49.66% of the vote versus leftist Senator Ivan Cepeda's 48.70. The 47-yeold slender win triggered demonstrations but will ease ties with Washington. We're beginning a new era, he told supporters behind bulletproof glass. Yeah, no doubt. For those who have sown violence, terror, drug trafficking, corruption all these years, their time is up. President Trump cheered the result, exclaiming he won big. He didn't win big. He barely won. Trump is funny. 1% is not big, Trump. That's he won. Former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan has died at the age of 100. He served as a federal chair for 18 years. Alan Greenspan, former chair of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System, died today at the age of 100, according to a statement from his wife. He passed away at her home this morning at the age of 100 from complications of Parkinson's disease. He was a giant of a man who helped shape the U.S. economy for decades under presidents of both parties, but was always honest in acknowledging his mistakes. To me, he was my husband who shaped my life from the very first date in 1984. They met in 84. Good Lord. Wow. 84. So he got married in his 60s to this lady. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg officiated the couple's wedding in 1997. He had an irrational exuberance for baseball. 87, President Reagan was the first president nominated to serve as the Federal Reserve Chair. Federal Reserve issued a statement on his death. The Federal Reserve notes with deep sadness the passing of Alan Greenspan, Chairman. Greenspan served as the 13th Chairman of the Board of Governors from 1987 to 2006, and his contributions to monetary policy and economic thought left a lasting mark on his institution, on the broader field of economics in the country. During his 18 years as chairman, he guided the Federal Reserve through periods of significant economic expansion as well as periods of considerable stress. Under his leadership, the Federal Reserve achieved a sustained period of price stability that supported economic growth and helped anchor the public's confidence in the institution. Chairman Greenspan's legacy endures the Federal Reserve and those who he mentored directly, and the economists and public servants he inspired, and the frameworks and practices he helped shape. The Federal Reserve extends its deepest condolences to his wife, Andrea Mitchell, and to his family. So how old is Andrea Mitchell now? She's got to be up there. President Trump vows to prosecute those who are vandalizing the reflecting pool. 5 people have now been arrested for vandalism at the reflecting pool. Jeanine Pirro threatens anyone accused of vandalizing Washington Monument after CBS News reports says administration official told her arrests were made. Repair work is beginning already. 5 people reported been arrested for vandalizing Lincoln Memorial reflecting pole, with Donald Trump insisting repair work begin immediately. CBS News reporter Emma Nicholson tweeted on Sunday that an administration official told her 5 people had been arrested for vandalizing the pole. Another 5 issued federal citations, bringing the total number of police reports filed to 14, including one related to the alleged 250-foot gash in the pool. It's been plagued by algae blooms and peeling paint following the controversial renovation. Wow. U.S. Attorney for District of Columbia Jeanine Pirro said on Sunday afternoon that citations for vandalism have been issued and people caught vandalizing 2,000-foot-long reflecting pool will be fully prosecuted. Anyone who's in position of vandalizing or attempting to vandalize will face the criminal justice system in D.C., she said. At least 5 people arrested in alleged tampering of reflecting pool. What do you mean alleged? They were caught doing it. Please remember there's a 10-year prison sentence for the destruction or even the attempt destruction of such things, which will be fully enforced, Trump wrote. Yep, it was a law he had passed last time around. The 5 arrests and 5 additional citations. Other people have come in the wake of Trump saying Sunday that, with no evidence that the vandals are reflecting pools. They've been arrested. What do you mean no evidence? Give me a break. These NBC News is just dementing their lies. Arrest made amid viral vandalism concerns reflecting pool. Federal officials say several people have been arrested or cited in connection with alleged vandalism of the reflecting pool. Make no mistake, making D.C. beautiful is a priority. If you damage, vandalize, or do anything to impact something like the reflecting pool, you can be prosecuted. Paid all this money as taxpayers in order to get this fixed, and it's still not fixed, and it's disappointing, says Troy Allen, who's visiting Pennsylvania. I expect to come here and not see algae. Well, that's because people have poisoned the water with chemicals, Troy. So I expect to see it lovely too, but your leftist friends are destroying America. Gavin Newsom has been warned about a mass exodus from crybaby state employees. California state workers are warning Governor Gavin Newsom could face a mass exodus after ordering employees back to their office 4 days a week. They don't even go to work. The looming mandate has sparked backlash from workers who say they've successfully kept the Golden State running under hybrid schedules since COVID-19, except the state isn't running. It's a disaster. I feel like there will be mass exodus. I feel like the state needs to be ready for mass exodus, says Anika Walls, president of local state employees union 1000, which represents state workers in Sacramento. We have individuals who have been teetering retirement, who took a look at this 4 days a week, and when they have been doing their job officially in a hybrid schedule, we'll probably send them into retirement. Good. Get rid of them. They're dead weight. Lazy people who don't want to go to work. And Newsom's actually doing something right for once. Doing something right, actually making lazy turds go back to work. It's about time. So where are the world's billionaires living? New York City remains the world's largest destination for billionaires despite its surge into socialism. 146 billionaires still call the Big Apple home. The next three are Shenzhen, Shanghai, and Beijing. London comes next, followed by Mumbai. Desperately poor India has 95 billionaires in its capital. Hong Kong with 88. So the Chinese just rule this list. Lots of Chinese cities, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the top 10. New Delhi. Paris with 44. Tokyo with 31. And nobody in Africa has enough to make this list. Dubai is the lowest on here with 24. Palm Beach, Florida has 24. Toronto has 26 billionaires. Dallas with 28. Wow. Bengaluru, wherever the hell that's at, in India has 30. There you go. And that's today's news for today, June 22nd, 2026. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button if you have not done it already. I'd appreciate you hitting the like button. Like I said, a real big drop off yesterday. So we sank to just as low as 244 views last night and only 19,000 yesterday. Big drop off. It's going to be a huge drop off in revenue this month. Thank goodness I'm not living off this. But that means trips have to be put off because this money does play a role in whether I'm able to travel. And we are way low this month. We are less than half of last month, and we only have a week left. So the revenue continues to decline on the channel. Thank goodness it's not about making the money. Otherwise, I would have given up a long time ago. You're welcome for the news, Debbie. Thank you for that. Billionaires, you just got to divide by 17. What's the median age of these billionaires? They're mostly old. Hey, Bambi, how's it going? You're welcome. Camera view sucks at the moment. There's nothing wrong with the camera view. That's your feed. My camera view is fine. That's your feed. Refresh your page. Hey, Bitter Ender, what's up? Many billionaires put money in assets, keep funds locked up. Well, that's their prerogative. It's their money. It's their money. Politics. Oh, no thanks. Can't believe people said petty destroy it just because they don't like pets. Well, they've done the same thing to monuments. During the Black Lives Matter scandal or fraud that took place a few years ago, they destroyed the 54th Massachusetts monument in Boston, dedicated to the all-colored regiment, the 54th Massachusetts, who fought to end slavery in the Civil War. And they're just too stupid, so they assumed it was, evil white people, so they attacked it. They vandalized it. Yep. No, they vandalized Cus Delegre's gravestone, breaking the stone and vandalizing the grave. Yep. Evil people. All right, what else we got here? Sounding much better. I don't know if I sound better, Bonnie. Thank you. I'm not all fired up. I'm trying. I'm just getting through this. Oil crisis makes shipping, transport expensive, delayed results, and everything spent more commonly needed things. Well, Fisher Group, yes. The energy lack of energy, or what's happening is that the world's reserves are being drained, and so the reserves are at a perilously low level because they've been relying on reserves to meet demand. And if it doesn't pick up soon, we're going to have a problem globally. Yep. And prices do go up. Yep. Yeah, 100. That's a lot of innings. Well, you should have been doing that a long time ago, Fisher Group, before prices went up to the things you need. I have them. My basement's full of paper towels and hand sanitizer and canned goods and water and drinks and medicines and everything that I need. If Cape Verde does, Disney will, they'll make a movie, no doubt about it. You're right, Charles. The best thing about the FIFA World Cup is people seeing how wonderful the USA is. All the lies about America told by social media idiots and also by the fake legacy media all over the world lying about America are all just being dispelled by the World Cup. People coming here and seeing for themselves that it's all just a bunch of lies. Trump's fascist state is not a fascist state. People move about freely in this country and experience freedom and liberty and joy every day. And so just a bunch of lies. Also, the nonsense about how America is struggling economically. What a crock. How can a country with only 4% unemployment struggle? It can't. It can't. If it's struggling, unemployment will be spiking. Yeah, it's just nonsense. Bambi says Father's Day yesterday. Okay, DeSantis has signed a law that allows motorists to drive over protests they feel threatened. I find that hard to believe. However, you're allowed to use deadly force if your life is in danger. Absolutely. Leona, what's up? South Africa governance, the biggest criminal syndicate from state institutions too long. Okay. Alexandros Paginopoulos. There's a rehab in Paris that physically abused and used the term. Never heard of it, Alexandros. Where's it at? And how do you know this? Bambi wants to get out quickly. 20 billion rand regular expenditure this year. We don't need USA. We need company. Exactly. Neff says, was that people cheering when Starmer resigned? Let him know exactly how useless he is. Yep. Well, you got another one. You got one just like that in South Africa. We had one, Joe Biden. He's out now. Ordering stuff for a while now, special electronic parts for my hobby projects. Okay, good move. In South Africa, you're not allowed to use deadly force if your life is in danger. So you're just supposed to die, vodka model? Well, pick your poison. All indications June will be worse than May, so less people to interview at the moment. Okay, Truth Seeker, stop with that nonsense. Where are you getting not many people are going? Are you talking about refugees? What are you talking about, Truth Seeker? You guys got to stop listening to these WhatsApp groups, okay? It's just ridiculous. These WhatsApp groups, you're getting bullshit information from them. Meds are, I don't know, it's just taking a while to fight through it. When's your next refuge? Debbie, I'm sick, so I've got an interview I've still got to edit. I haven't got around to from my time in Monroe, Georgia. Yep. I would like to make a monthly contribution to you to use as you need. Can this be done? Yeah, you can send me a PayPal if you'd like. Eugene, do you use PayPal? Eugene, that's very kind of you. Sorry, I missed that. So for those, you can test it and send a small amount and see if it works. Where's it at here? Let me find it very quickly here. Where's my PayPal? There it is. There's the PayPal. You send it to that email address. You can try that. Eugene, thank you. Some people think I'm wasting time ordering stuff. No. Did you see press use? Army checks refugees. They brought up some interesting points. No, I haven't seen any Professor G videos. He's hard to find. He doesn't show up on my feed. And his channel isn't Professor G. It's something else. Ronaldo's going live at 1 o'clock. Okay. Africana military. They came up on my feed this time. Okay.
Goeiedag, mijn naam is Evan. Ik become one of the most... I received an audio message from a viewer who sends me a lot of information, so I trust this source. And they thought that it was very important that I get it out to you. And I believe that it is because it dovetails off of a video I made a couple of days ago. I had made a video concerning Church World Services and USCIS and their investigation into the background of Afrikaners, other people of white European descent, and frankly, any ethnic minority that...
Okay, Church World Service doesn't do investigations into the background. Church World Service doesn't do any investigations, so that's not correct, or I misunderstood him.
That falls under the categories that can be a member of this refugee program. And I said that there's kind of two things going on here. And to understand this, you have to remember that there are bars. There are things that limit individuals from becoming refugees.
Yes, like drug use, criminal activity, and human rights abuses.
And one of those bars is called the persecutor bar. And the persecutor bar forbids anyone who was involved in the active persecution of a group of people based on an immutable characteristic, that being, for example, your race.
All right, I don't need to listen to the rest of this. I see where this is going. All right. Exclusive Gamer says Church World Service requested SADF personnel file, which is classified by the RSA government. No, Church World Service didn't request anything. USCIS wants that file. And it's classified. I already told people. I guess people don't watch my channel regularly. I already told people what you do. You go to the records in Pretoria. You ask them for the document. When they don't give it to you, then you ask for a statement from them. If they refuse to give a statement, you go to an attorney's office and you make an affidavit. And you have that certified. And then you give it to Church World Service. It's classified information. The government won't release it. Simple as that. And they'll have to accept it. And so so I see where this is going. This is going to be some bullshit about if you serve in the military, you can't come over. That's a lie. We have people who served in the military. I have someone who's in the Special Protection Unit for the president who's here as a refugee. You don't believe me? I have the person's rank. They gave it to me as a gift. Where's it at? It's here somewhere. Anyway, I hadn't shown it before. There are people who served in the old SADF, the South African Defense Force, who are here. There are people serving in the police force in the 1970s, 1980s who come over as refugees. They've had to supply the paperwork. This isn't new. Why are people acting like this is a new requirement? It's not new. This is not new. It is not new. The reason they're asking for particular documents, they must have uncovered something about you in the past. It's as simple as that. And they need to investigate it thoroughly. It's just, I have to watch all the video and then I have to make it. It's, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't see the whole video, but I'm telling you right now without watching the video that serving the South African military or the police is not a bar to coming over here. Simply serving in the military or the police does not make you a persecutor. I will watch the whole video, Igoli. Okay, why do you all keep saying I should watch the whole video? Why don't you tell me why I should watch the whole video? Why don't you tell me why I should watch the whole video? Call it what you want, Andres. It's not called stonewalling. What do you mean stonewall? They can just deny you. They don't have to give you any reason. They can just deny you. So why would they stonewall you? That just doesn't make any sense. Trek Boris says, as a fellow veteran, I think you should really listen to this video for SJ. We know we too have esprit de corps. Shadow banning going on here is unacceptable and disrespectful. Shadow banning of whom? Okay, so stop right here. Everyone correcting me. I didn't say anything wrong. Everything I said is a statement of fact. I just told you that people have come over here. That's a fact. You want to tell me I need to watch a video to tell you that? I don't. I've interviewed these people. I didn't say I'm not going to watch the video. I'm going to stop here. It's a 15-minute video. I'm not going to eat up 15 minutes of time, airtime, listening to that right now. Besides, it's his thing. Oh, jeez. Detlef says people think researchers have all the time to watch every single video report, state, and radio show. That's why, okay. All right, so I'm going to say this loudly and clearly right now. You all need to hear what I say who are arguing with me. Leista Mensa, I said I'm not going to play any more of his video. It's his video. I didn't say I'm not going to watch it ever. That's not what I said. I will watch it because now obviously I need to find out what he said. I stopped it right there because he mentioned it's a bar. And I'm telling you that serving the military is not a bar. That's not true. It's not true. If you've committed a crime, that's a bar. If you've persecuted somebody, that's a bar. How can we let someone come over here for being persecuted when they've been a persecutor? It doesn't pass the common sense test. This is a topic covered over and over again. This is not new. People who have gone before have had to get their military records. It's not new. Not new. Well, we've told people all along. I've told people that if you serve the military, be prepared that they're going to want your military records. I don't understand what the question is here. Well, Garrett, I've said that too. You all get all spun up over nothing, man. This is nothing new. I will listen to the voice message that's in here, okay? I see he's got the voice message. Igoli, Mzanzi, I didn't say you're disagreeing with me. I said, but there were several people who told me here that I made assumptions. I made no assumptions. I made no assumption. I stated fact. What I said is that people serving in the South African military and the police, it's not a bar. If you did nothing wrong, it's not a bar. But it will involve more scrutiny. I've said that all along. That's always been the case. It will involve more scrutiny. It's as simple as that. And it should involve more scrutiny. I'm over the age of 40 now. I have life experience. I've done many things. I've been all over the world. I've interacted with people all over the world. Therefore, when I do my polygraphs, they take far longer because I have far more questions to answer. It's as simple as that. Not just okay, cool fly. What does that mean? Cool fly. Exactly, Phoenix says, how is this news? The colonel has been saying for the longest time, if you're in the military, the interview will take longer, the background checks will take longer. I've already covered that too, Anton Mulder. I've already covered that topic about requiring information that requires special authorization. I've already covered that. You're not able to get documents that are classified unless the government declassifies them. You cannot get them. I've already covered that, and I just explained a few moments ago. Ian, who's already over here, said, even after being approved, I had to give my military paperwork in last week. They want to give it to them, one of those things. Yep. Hey, Paul, you're welcome. Kelly says, the colonel's trying to help people who do qualify for refugee status. He's not discouraging anyone. Who said I was discouraging anyone? Exactly, Martin. Do what Church World Service asked of you, and there you go. It's as simple as that. What have I always said? Go where you're told to go. Do what you're told to do. Answer the questions you're asked honestly and truthfully, and that's all you can't do. I think people must be taking his video out of context. That happens a lot. Johan Duplessis, another point, I'm dumbfounded as to how a small group of woke people get so much publicity. It seems all mostly news channels across the world love the lefties. Which group are you talking about, Johan? The ones that are they're vandalizing the pool? The reflecting pool? Oh, I'm sorry, Ian, you're still in South Africa. My bad. I respect the work he's going on for. I just don't look at seeing if people. Okay, everyone watch the Colonel's videos as refugee programs progress. He sends information. Thank you, Eugene. I have no idea. Oh, Presidential Protection Unit? I'm not going to discuss that, Utopi. Not going to discuss that. No. Not going to discuss that. No. That's not a big pool of people, so I'm not going to discuss that. Yep. Hepburn Lane also made videos. Not sure the information is right, especially to vulnerable. Using U.S. meant for immigration. I don't know what that's all about, Igoli. I can't comment on that. It's times like this I get off the channel. So many people commenting shit that clearly. All right, Mike. Take care. Hey, Helen. Where have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, anyway, I will watch the video when I have a chance. Yeah, and I will watch the video. Phoenix says, can I just ask how are some people so high up in the military and so educated and trained not already prepared to exit the country when they need to? It's like people now start to run around for stuff. Because people get comfortable. It's easy to get comfortable when you're not struggling, and you get set in your ways very easily. And people high up in rank aren't necessarily well educated. Don't make that presumption. You know, You're talking about people in the military. That was a long time ago, and not everybody was rewarded for education. Some people just rewarded for their leadership ability, which gives them blind spots. 7 more days, the bitter cold, says Ian. Okay. Eugene says, I was in the old Southern police and my paper is ready for my interview. Good luck with that, Eugene. But you will get grilled. Excuse me, not grilled. Grilled. You'll get grilled. That's going to happen. Expect that. There is an awful lot of stuff going on right now that just doesn't... no, I'm not pissed off, Andres. There's an awful lot of stuff that's going on right now that is really being done to undermine the program by South Africans. There are South Africans going in WhatsApp groups and going into Facebook pages and spreading all kinds of rumors and their analysis when they have no basis to make the analysis, and they're not experienced analysts. It doesn't mean they can't get it right, but there's an awful lot of propaganda going on by your own people, Farayas in your midst, or idiots in your midst who don't know what's going on. You know, no, the info they requires special authority, but they said your case will stay pending until they receive info, knowing it's almost impossible. Yeah, okay, Anton. Church World Service doesn't make the decision about pending, so you got to stop that. Stop that. Okay, Church World Service is also the people who send you email and tell you you're leaving 2 to 4 weeks. We have people 6 months after they got the email and haven't left. Also have a family where their aunt and uncle were murdered after having been approved and waiting for their tickets in South Africa and the Western Cape. So, yeah, Church World Service also told you many things. They're giving you stock answers. That's nonsense. Church World Service is not the agency that gets your documents. They go to USCIS. So I would take what Church World Service says with a grain of salt about your case being put on hold. Part of the community police forum. Yeah, that happens too. And if you have a tie to Sightlanders or Southlanders Civil Defense or to the Boer Legion or something like that, you're going to get grilled. Or if one of your parents were members of the AWB. I know people here who have parents in the AWB. They're here. Dwayne Roosevelt says divorce certificates in Afrikaans, they have to be translated. As far as I know, they have to be translated officially by the court. I'm not an expert on that. You'll have to ask them when they ask for it. Lilu says, I'll watch to see what the fuss about. Same here. I'll watch to see what the fuss about. South Africans can be their own worst enemies. Yep. Is it legal for any? Of course it's legal, Rian Cruz, for your U.S. tie to ask. Well, why would they go to Church World Service? Okay, first, stop right there, Rian. Is the receiving agency that your tie is within the U.S., are they Church World Services? They're just one of 7 big agencies. There's hundreds of smaller agencies. It is perfectly legitimate for your U.S. tie to contact the people who contacted them. There's no law against that, and ask what's going on, but they're not going to get any information, most likely. Yep, Odin's Viking. Traitors among us have plagued us throughout history. Nothing new, exactly. I was asking about my conscription, but the week I spent in the military wasn't significant enough for warranting paperwork. Yep. Yes, people are always saying Church World Service and not RSC. It's become synonymous. South Africans keep getting it wrong. Broken Arrow. So glad I left this mess behind. You're welcome, Dwayne. I've really been enjoying your mints. Yeah, those are kind of fun, aren't they, Kelly? I enjoy the mints. Thank you for watching them, yeah. I have another one which it's kind of a mint, but it's with an Indian family, but it's just me on the camera, so I've been sick. I haven't edited it, so I got to work on that maybe this afternoon. Yeah, people are confusing the two. RSC is the agency that is handling your cases through South Africa. They're a subsidiary of Church World Service. Cool Beans, stop. Here you go again. Now you've been well behaved for the past couple of days and throughout this stream, and now you're starting again. Stop it. You're not honest. You're acting childish now. No one's even talking about you. You're demanding attention again. Same thing you were doing before. Knock it off. Now you're going to be belligerent. Okay, here comes your timeout. Exactly, Phoenix. You're exactly right about that. There's been a lot of complaint and pushback and even congressional questions about the program, about why we're letting white refugees come over, but they didn't say anything about Ukrainians coming over who are also white. They have blue eyes and blonde hair. But there's been a lot of scrutiny over the program, and hence the program was frozen. See, people forget this. The refugee program was stopped because of fraud. It was stopped because of fraud and because the people involved in it were fraudulent. Trump froze entirely on January 20th of last year. And then he opened up to South Africans, and a lot of criticism came, and therefore the scrutiny is on the program. He just wants a timeout, doesn't he? I said you're demanding attention. You need to take the wax out of your ears, cool beans. I said you're attention seeking once again. And of course, you've got it. You've accomplished what you wanted. Everyone's talking about you now. All right. And that's trolling, attention seeking. What I actually understand is the CIA knowledge of 30 June March. What would the CIA care about that? How does it affect the U.S.? Just saying that whoever aligns themselves against what was achieved by conscripts will soon find themselves on the wrong side of the Afrikaner. No idea what Trekbor's saying. Your grandmother was in the Osa Brandfang. Will that be a problem? It shouldn't be a problem for you. You had nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. So it shouldn't have any effect on you. But you will have to probably be asked about that. If they ask you about it, be honest. Yep. Well, more than 85% of Ukrainians are white. More than 85%, Suzanne. Yep. Linus says engagement is good for your channel. No, the chat rate is 9. That doesn't bring people here. A 24 chat rate, that pumps up the algorithm. That gets people coming to the channel. So, yep. Yeah, it's chat rate's currently at 9. It's not that high. It's not that high. Okay, Anthony, glad to see you just got off work. I think we hope your day went well. I see Joe Texas comments. Squirrel says, oh, he's talking to Depth. Thanks. I know it's hard when you know a life-changing event is just around the corner. We all can just wait. Definitely worth it. I'm grateful to us for their help. Okay. And James Duvall says his U.S. tie was contacted directly by USCIS. Okay. Well, that's not a surprise. Marmite. We're not going to talk about Marmite. But what about Cape Verde, man? Guys, that was incredible. Why do you think someone who gets 2 to 4 week tentative mail is waiting 6 months, but some people applied in February this year in the U.S.? I don't know anyone who applied in February this year in the U.S. I haven't met a single person. And I have met over about probably 800 of the refugees now, of the 7,000 I've met in person, and I've been in contact with well over 3,000 of them. I've not met a single person who's come over here since February, who applied in February. That may be true, but I don't know anyone. Doesn't mean, I'm just telling you my experience. This is my lived experience. It's my truth. I don't know a single person who came over here in February, that applied in February. I don't know a single person. Not one. Not one. So I can't answer your question because to me it's not a real question. You sold your book on Amazon. Cool. Congratulations, Helena. Okay. We're fine to change the topic a bit. The war build up. You crazy woman Ursula von der Leyen is pushing Germany. Yeah, no, that's fine. I have lots of songs to play. Oklahoma, people like Oklahoma. It's not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. My channel views have not declined drastically, Lioness. You've misunderstood. No, my channels have not declined drastically. In fact, they're back up this past month over what they were the past 2 months. No, my channel last year surged and had briefly for 2 months about 4 million views per month. Prior to the me making videos about Knobs and Keezy going back to 2024, I was only getting, I don't know how many thousand views per month. It wasn't nowhere near 1 million. In fact, it was only a few tens of thousands because I only had 4 million, I think it was, when that happened. So, if I can't even look at that stat, I wonder. But Knobs and Keezy sparked my channel. It took off, and I got over 2 million views per month. But then the refugee thing came, and I soared up to 4 million and 3.8 million per month. It settled back down in the range of 1.4 million per month, and then it declined, and then it came back, and it declined, and came back. Right now, I'm getting about 1.3, 1.4 million views per month, which outpaces most South African websites. It's declined the past few days because I've been sick and I haven't done any prepared videos, and not doing prepared videos hurts. Yeah, so that's why, Lioness, why my channel is down, but it's only down recently. So if I go back and look at the stats here, let me go to my stats, analytics. So let me see. So yeah, I averaged over 50,000 views per day, almost entirely for the last 2 weeks until Saturday, 21, and Sunday, 19,000. Yep, over 50,000 views. So I'm averaging 1.3 million views over the past 28 days. That puts me in fine company with others. Yeah, and ahead of many others. 1,230,000 views in the past 28 days is the average, and I'm at 1.3 million. So I'm over the target. Yep. Yeah, I get average between 1.2 and 1.8 million. That's over the past year. That's what I get. So, and that's after the refugee thing died down. Last year, the refugee thing died down on the 4th of June. That was when it kind of died down. So from the past year, I've averaged 1.2 to 1.8 million. Yep. Can I answer your question? Have you got my message, email, and you're going to reply back? No, I haven't gotten your email. I don't know what you're talking about, Cool Beans. I've been sick for several days, and you're not keeping up with current events. I've been sick. I haven't answered any email in several days. Nope. Yeah, well, that hurts me because a lot of South Africans watch my program that aren't signed into their YouTube accounts, and that doesn't count. I'm going as I'm not. I need a refugee debate. I've listened to you, and you know what you said. Somebody listens. All right, D Thorne. Well, I'm not talking about the refugee stuff now. I'm talking about my stats. Yeah, South Africa used to have to fly through Cape Verde on sanctions. I know I did that. I flew back through Cape Verde and landed in Cape Verde. It was really hot there. Very humid, not too far from the equator. Kind of miserable. I remember that. Yep. I remember that. I remember that. Those days very well. Yep, that was a long time ago. Anyway. All right. Well, the 5th is still quite a ways away. We'll see what happens on the 5th. Heidi, what's with the face? What's going on? What's going on? What's the funny face? Somebody wanted music. Somebody wanted music. How about human rights? Let's get the Ronnie Lamola song. Where the heck is that at? Here it is, human rights for humans.
Ah, lads, gather round now. Pull up a chair, grab a pint, and let me tell you the curious tale of little Ronnie and the giant. Hey! Well, down in Cape Town Parliament, beneath the cameras bright, a minister stepped boldly up to lecture wrong from right. Ronnie waved his finger high with all the wisdom he assumes, then tripped upon his own big words and crashed across the room. He called across the ocean wide to 70 million souls, declared them all barbarians with hearts as black as coal. He thundered they deny the rights all decent folks demand, then accidentally mocked himself before the whole damn land. Human rights for humans, well, who else would they be for? The goldfish and the parakeets, the donkey at the store. Human rights for humans, a genius takes the floor. He opens up his mouth so wide his boot comes flying out once more. Now Ronnie climbed the ladder fast, though no one quite knows how. Perhaps the ANC was drunk when they anointed him somehow. From justice to foreign affairs they proudly gave promotion, as every speech he makes creates a fresh diplomatic commotion. He spins tall tales and nonsense lines with confidence absurd. Half the pub starts laughing before he's finished every word. The journalists keep writing it, the diplomats all groan, while Ronnie keeps keeps on rambling like a bagpipe badly blown. Human rights for humans, raise another pint and cheer. The deeper that the lad thinks, the less sense we all hear. Human rights for humans, the philosophy profound, like a rooster giving lectures while he's pecking at the ground. Oh, brave little Ronnie marched up to the mic to wrestle the giant America. But the giant just blinked and scratched his great chin, while Ronnie kept shouting hysteria. He called them racists, villains too, with outrage loud and grand. But half the world just tilted heads and asked, what's wrong with this man? Aye. Fill it up again, boys!
Human rights for humans.
Aye.
What else were they before? The parakeets.
Now every pub from Cork to Joburg laughs into their beer. Whenever Ronnie gives a speech, the punchline soon appears. For every mighty giant needs a comic little foe, and Ronnie plays the part so well wherever winds may blow. Still, perhaps we should thank the lad for all the joy he brings. For few men turn diplomacy into comedy routines. He may not grasp philosophy or history or facts, but Saints above he gives the pubs material by the stacks. Human rights for humans, sing it loud and sing it clear. If wisdom were a whiskey shot, Ronnie'd still want beer. Human rights for humans, the scholars all applaud, for no one else could make a phrase sound quite so strange and odd. Human rights for humans, now lift your mugs once more and pray the next great speech he gives ain't dumber than before. Ronnie lad, next round's on the philosopher.
Human rights for humans. Ronnie Lamola. Oh my goodness. What a brilliant man he was. Anyone know whatever happened to the court decision for the French girl? What happened to her? What was the judgment there? Sentencing. What happened there? She was convicted of public insult based on origin and ethnicity and received a €1,000 fine. The government and anti-racism agencies pushed for a harsher penalty of 1 year in prison and a fine of €45,000. Yep. So she did get convicted. After she was nearly raped by a Tunisian. Yep. And so that's the reward from the French court system, is insulting someone. She gets this. Shame. Shame. Anyway, there you have it. That's just nasty governments. You like that song, Johan? That's pretty good. It's pretty good, Utopi. And Paul in China. Paul who? That was fun. Yeah, I like that one. No, an Irish jig is pretty good. We did it now, a couple of them. We did it for the Lament of the Seven Seas for the Iranian Navy. And we did it there for Ronald Lamola. So some of those are fun. We started the program with Alabama Heat. Yeah, I want to go to an Irish pub too. They're always fun. 27th in Tableview, going to Complex now. So that's interesting, Mark Sharp. Thanks for sharing that, Mark. I'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, I need to recover quickly here. I was supposed to be on the road this week in New England right now, meeting refugees, but that's not happening. It's a question of finances as well as a question of health. So I'm not traveling at the moment. So I will hear about the conflicting stories about the park ranger who shot the Canadian. I have not heard about conflicting stories in that, Cool Beans. Thanks for that. I heard it was an accidental discharge, and then I kind of left the story at that. The tragic story of a mother who was stabbed to death and her 10-month-old baby nursing from her teat, and she was dead, is kind of got my attention more than the park ranger story. I heard about that. Was that in Kruger? Second shooting. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. What's happening in South Africa? Anyway, perceived racism is a far greater crime than murder and rape these days. Well, according to the authorities in South Africa. An Irish album. Yeah, Charles, maybe I have an Irish album coming up. Witnesses are saying things are totally different. I don't doubt that at all, Cool Beans. What about the suicide, the double suicide of the German shipping heiress? That was pretty bizarre, wasn't it? Do you interview African foreigners being here legally for many years in their testimonies? Yeah, but I doubt that anyone would want to come on camera for that, Cruiser Phoenix. They would become a target, a lightning rod. So, but I would interview people who are there legally. It's illegals. I definitely wouldn't want to come on camera. They would want anonymity. And I don't have any contact with any of those people, so I don't know how I would get a hold of them to do an interview. But yeah, I would consider an interview for something like that. Absolutely. No problem with that whatsoever. Cool Beans saying it was a murder. Well, I wouldn't be surprised, Cool Beans, that it was a murder. But again, I don't have any information on that. So, you know who's gone quiet? We haven't heard anything from Mel and Pete in a couple days. That's probably good. That's probably good. Yep. So I understand that Yana LaRue says that she never said that I'll F you up to the Free State Agriculture guys, that's a lie. She claims it's a lie. I have no reason to doubt her. It is interesting. It is interesting. And she says she apologized and she did that. Hey, shall we show these pictures again? Is this Neff's place? So this is where a South African refugee lives. Okay, let me show you these pictures, okay? Make sure I haven't got anything compromising here as I go through this. Okay, there we go. Okay, good. So we'll go that way. All right, cool. So this is where a South African refugee lives in an apartment complex here in America. So just dispelling the FEMA tent nonsense. So this is the FEMA tent that this South African lives in here in America. I think it was Neff. Yeah, I don't think many people care about Mel and Pete. They are criminals. So there's the washer and dryer. Okay. There is the sitting room adjacent to the kitchen there. Not large, but nice. It's rather new construction. I have that same floor in my house and that same carpet in my house, not in an apartment. So there's the kitchen. Okay, that looks nice. Big apartment complex, as you can see. There you go. I have the exact same setup. I don't have a refrigerator though, because I have my old refrigerator I bought in 1995 when I was in Iowa. A Frigidaire, it still works. But I have the exact same microwave and stove setup. Probably the same. I mean, that's my kitchen right there. The granite countertop, except it's not like that. It's shaped differently. But yeah, I have the exact same thing. Wow, look at that. I don't have that big mirror though. That's kind of weird over a sink. Why would you want a mirror over the sink? Anyway, but yeah. There's the living room. A couple laptops there and a tablet. Furniture doesn't match, but hey, you're not a billionaire. You get what you get. Okay. There's the bedroom. That's quite spacious. Overhead fan and lights. There's the toilet. Bathroom. That's quite lovely. A little small for me, but lovely. And I have the same bathroom, except mine's much larger. I buy a house, they rent it, and they get the same thing I've got. Got a balcony, too. I don't have a balcony. I'm on the ground floor here. And there's the picture from the balcony. That's a nice balcony. There you go. And that was a song by one of our viewers there. That's a pretty good song. Why don't I hear anything? Oh, there's no sound. Why is there no sound? That's odd. Yep. So that's yeah. So that's where one refugee lives. I think it's Neff. Did I get it wrong, Neff? If I'm wrong, I apologize. Yeah, so that's where one refugee lives. So it's not horror for everyone. Some people live in very good conditions. Not everyone does. It's just a question of luck of the draw where you wind up. Who you wind up with, what agency you wind up with. Yeah, so, yep. Can I have a tent like that in Wyoming, says Charles. Yeah, they're very fortunate, but you got to hit the ground running, folks. Got to hit the ground running. Get that ground, get that Social Security number, get that EAD, get that job, and start putting money in the bank. Yep, you got to hit it fast. You got to hit it fast. Oh, gotcha, Barbara. Okay. Well, I have a window over my sink so you can see outside. I prefer that. Luck and draw is spot on. Yep, Cool Beans says exactly right. It's the luck of the draw. Exactly, luck of the draw. If you get the short end of the stick, you get the short end of the stick, unfortunately. Yep. Not everyone has those combinations. I've also shown you where Jared lived. Do I have that handy here? Let me see if I have Jared. Desktop. I have a Jared folder here. Documents, Jared. I thought I had a folder for Jared. Okay, maybe I don't. Anyway, I put it somewhere else. Anyway, I don't have those pictures handy. Otherwise, I'd show you the pictures of Jared's place. They were pretty bad. Maybe. No, they didn't show me. Someone in West Virginia. That's news to me, Charles. Okay. Okay, why didn't they contact me? I want the castle. Yeah. I want the castle in the mountains, too. I also want the $276,000 a month in taxes that to pay for it. Or no, it wasn't $276,000. That was $15,000 a month. Do I sound better? I don't feel much better. I got a lot of rest after I fell asleep watching. I didn't fall asleep. I watched the Cape Verde game. That was exciting. I mean, both teams pressed. I mean, soccer's boring, but for once that was exciting. Both teams were pressing for a goal late in that game, and they really tried hard. Yeah, so that was the Cape Verde game. That was something else. It was enjoyable. I enjoyed that game. Really got excited for it. Much more exciting than watching the so-called German team, which is comprised of non-Germans. Yeah, I used to root for Germany all the time. I don't know if I can do it this time around. I don't really know who I'm pulling for in this World Cup. I mean, the U.S. would be great if they could win it, but I don't think that's going to happen. Although they're playing out of their minds right now, they're playing very well. But, no one else seems to stand out. Spain held to a 0-0 against Cape Verde. The Netherlands, England, nobody's looking really good. Brazil looks okay, but they're not that much competition. Yeah. All right, Elmarie. I think we're all going to wrap up here shortly. Hey, Stan, what's going on, man? All right, so I'm way behind on WhatsApps. I'm way behind on emails. So, guys, please be understanding. And I also got people calling me unsolicited. I don't even know these people calling. They don't even watch my show. Oh, they gave me your number to call and ask for your help. Why are you asking for my help? I've sent the link to that song. Okay, Debbie. Yeah, for some reason it wasn't playing. I don't know why it wasn't playing there. I mean, I downloaded it. The sound wasn't there. Anyway, it's a good song. Yeah, they do have a great team this World Cup. The best team they've had since 2010, I think. Yep. Yeah, I prefer window. Much nicer indeed. Yep, Barbara, I agree with you. I understand why you got the mirror in there now. It makes sense. But I have a window in my kitchen, which is much nicer. But it's funny because all of the woodwork and all that stuff, it's just the same damn thing I have in my house. My house is 10 years old, 11 years old. The language is called sports. You don't understand a word. That's okay. We're not talking sports anymore. All right, folks. That's going to wrap it up for this stream. If I feel well enough, I'll do a night owl tonight, but no promise on that. Okay. So you guys be well. I think I need to make a few videos prepared, but I'm still feeling a bit under the weather. So, all right, everyone be well, and we'll catch you later on. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. How many likes we got? We got some nice likes on this stream. That helps. And then the chat rate's back up to 11. It was down at 4 earlier when somebody said it helps the interaction. Only if the chat rate's high. Okay, cheers.